Isn't that cool? At the end, don't you want the guitar player just to like smash it? And no. One of the best things about the new GarageBand is the instruments on the Retina display look absolutely luscious. So GarageBand remains $4.99. It's a free update to anyone who's already purchased it, and it's available today from the App Store as well. That's GarageBand. iMovie, also a new update with an amazing new feature. So you know, when we brought iMovie from the Mac to the iPad, we reimagined how you do video editing in a multi-touch experience. It starts with this marquee where you can pick your projects or create a new one. Well, now, not only you can create a movie, but you can also create a movie trailer as well. This is something we had brought to the Mac, and customers have loved it because it is so fun to be scripted right through how to create an amazing, quick and easy video piece. So all you do on the iPad is you select from a bunch of different styles and templates, and you're presented with a simple interface for creating your movie trailer. There's never been video editing like this. You fill out your outline, for example, what your movie studio name is going to be and who's the director, and then you tap on the storyboard, and you have a visual storyboard of the piece you're creating, where it tells you exactly what shots you need, like a close-up, an action shot, a group shot. But for the first time ever, you have a device where you can outline and storyboard your video, use the 1080p camera to record the video, and then play it back on that high-resolution display. It is truly a transformative way to do video editing. And let me show you a video of just one example of the kind of trailers you can create with the new iMovie on the new iPad. Isn't that incredible? And that music is part of the music selection we provide with you with the trailers, all pre-recorded by a symphony orchestra just so that you can use it in your own movie trailers. iMovie, it's $4.99. It's a free update to anyone who already has it, and it's also available today in the App Store. So GarageBand and iMovie, two of the applications that make up iLife. But of course, you all know, right? There's really three applications in iLife. On the Mac, there's three applications, and one of them is the most popular one of all. So I am really excited to tell you that today we're introducing iPhoto for iPad, and it is amazing. Now you're probably wondering, well, why do I need an iPhoto on the iPad? I've already got the camera app. I've already got a Photos app, and they're great for the things you do every day. But if you're someone like many of us are, who truly love the photos they take of their family and their friends and want to do even more with your photos, that's what iPhoto is for. With iPhoto, it'll use the same photo library on your iPad or iPhone, but it gives you great new ways to browse through all those photos. And it has truly breakthrough ways to edit your photos with new multi-touch gestures. We've packed it with professional quality effects. And there's powerful new brushes for applying those effects. And if you want to use more than one device, let's say you want to take a picture with your iPhone 4S, but keep your iPhoto library in your iPad, you can do that directly with photo beaming to beam high-resolution photos over between your devices. And we've invented a great new way to share your photos with your friends in a way that tells stories of the places you've visited and the events you've been at. We call these photo journals, and these photo journals use iCloud as a great new way to share your photos. And to show you this brand new, amazing application, I'm really proud to bring up Randy Ubilos, our Chief Architect for Photo and Video Applications. Randy?
Thanks, Phil. So, ever since the introduction of the iPad, we've seen its potential for digital photography. To be able to have something so light and portable to carry around with you instead of lugging around a laptop is really amazing. With iPhoto for iOS, we had the opportunity to reinvent it and take advantage of multi-touch and take it to a whole new level. I'd like to show it to you. We'll launch the application, and we start out with these beautiful shelves that show you all the photos that are on your device. We've got your albums. We can switch over, take a look at your events. You get to see all the photos that you have here. If we tap on one, we can take a look. We bring up the editing interface. It's very customizable. I can swipe in from the side to bring in a thumbnail view. I can change the size of this to change the number of columns here. I can even flip this from left to right for left-handed or right-handed layout. Now, these are photos from a trip that I recently took to Antarctica. I took along a digital SLR, took over 3,500 pictures, and used the camera connection kit. It was field testing the application there. When you're dealing with lots and lots of photos like that, one of the first things you want to do is find the best photos. And we have some great ways for doing that. You can simply tap on things to take a look at them. But if you want to compare photos, I can just press and hold and bring them up side by side. A lot of times you have a situation like this where I've got a bunch of pictures of this seal, and I could manually press and hold to compare those, but I can also let iPhoto do it for me. If I just double tap there, it's going to actually analyze the thumbnails and find all the similar photos and put them up side by side for me so I can compare them. Now, when I want to go through and find the best ones, like the second one in the first column, he's not looking at the camera, I'll just swipe down. That one disappears. The one at the bottom, same thing, he's not looking at the camera, swipe down. If I want to see them larger, I just tap. It goes to a larger size. I can swipe. His eyes are kind of closed there, so I'll swipe down, not looking at the camera. So now I'm down to 2. The one at the top's nice, but I think I like the expression on the one at the bottom better. So I'm going to swipe down on the one on the top. Now I can zoom in by just pinching apart. And you can see the kind of detail that I have here. If I bring up my info panel, the reason for this was shot on a Nikon D300. It's a 12 megapixel image, and all 12 megapixels are available here. In fact, I can work with images up to 19 megapixels on the iPad. And on the Retina display, these images look absolutely amazing. So now that we've chosen the image, the best one of that group, I'll touch the flag button to mark it. Once I've chosen a number of photos and flagged them, I can tap at the top of the thumbnail column and select to just view the flagged photos. Photos like this penguin staring contest here. Once you've got the photos, we have some great sharing options. I'll tap the share button. We have things like email and Twitter, Flickr, Facebook that you can send your photos to. Once you've chosen the best photos, you want to make them look even better. And we've got some great tools for that. Jump over to another album here. So here's a nice photo, but we can make that look even better. Down at the bottom along my toolbar, I'm going to tap the Auto Enhance button, and we're going to automatically adjust the contrast and color of the image to make it look better. But you'll notice the horizon line is not quite level. So I'm going to, down along in the lower left here, I've got my tools. I'm going to tap on the first one, which is my crop tool. And iPhoto is going to automatically analyze the photo and find the horizon line. It's drawn a line across, and I have a button on the right side, and I just touch that button, and it straightens the horizon line for me. So with just 2 touches, I'm able to go from this to this. And that's another feature. In the upper right corner, there's a button, Show Original. Anytime, I can always compare the original to the one that I'm working with. Now, the crop tool also has some great multi-touch features to it. So I can just use my fingers to pinch apart and pan around. If I turn my hand, I can actually rotate. I've got a dial at the bottom that allows me to do the same as well. I can grab a corner and change the cropping. Or if I want to go to some standard sizes, I tap the gear in the lower right corner, and it brings up some standard sizes. So say I want to do a square crop there, and I can just reframe, and just like that, I can crop the photo. Now, another thing that you run into a lot with photos is things that are too light or too dark. And the second tool I have is my exposure tool. And this brings up our unified control at the bottom that allows me to adjust the shadows, the highlights, the brightness, and the contrast. But I can do this in a great multi-touch way as well. The shadows in the lower left corner are a bit too dark. So I'm just going to touch my finger in the lower left, and it brings up these controls, and I just slide upwards in there, and up come the shadows. The same thing works for color. I'll switch to my color tool, and now I'm just going to touch and slide up, and it's going to adjust the saturation. So I'm able to go from this to this with just 2 touches of my finger. It's really fun and really easy. Now sometimes you want to adjust just a portion of an image. These multi-touch controls allow me to do that. I can touch in the sky and just slide to the left, and I'm going to be able to darken or lighten my sky. So just with one slide of my finger, I go from this to this with a nice deep sky. Really, really easy. Another color issue that you run into is white balance. We've got some great tools for white balance, but we have a brand new one, which is a skin tone white balance. And I just touch on the skin tone control, up pops this little loop, and as I drag this around, it's live white balancing on whatever's under the loop. And I just drag this onto anything where there's skin tone, and I'm able to go from this greenish cast over to a really nicely balanced image. Really, really easy. Now sometimes you run into situations in an image like this one, where part of the image is nice, like the sky, but part of it's kind of dark, like the face. We've got some great tools for that. I'm going to bring up my brushes. I've got this great brush palette that comes up. I've got repair, red eye, saturation, lightness, and sharpness that I can do. I'm going to go ahead and tap on my lighten brush, and now I'm just going to use my finger to work on the image. I just rub over the image, and these brushes are set up to work in a very soft way, so you just go back and forth a couple of times on the image. And so I'm able to go from this to this and get a very natural looking change to the image just using my finger with the multi-touch on the screen. So a great set of brushes that I can use, and like everything else on iPhoto, it's all non-destructive. So I can go back and make changes to any of this at any time that I'd like. Now, the next thing I'm going to show is we have some great effects. That's my 5th tool. I'm going to go ahead and choose my effects, and up pops my swatch book of effects that we have here. And we've got a whole bunch of different ones that I can choose from. I'm going to go ahead and choose my black and white card. Now, to apply a black and white, I just touch on the little film strip down here, and it applies a black and white. Professional photographers know there are lots of different ways to do black and white. You can mix the red, green, and blue very differently to get different effects. And I can do that by just sliding my finger along this strip down here. And I can get all kinds of different effects. I just slide my finger to where I like it, with kind of a dark sky. I kind of like the way that looks. And then I've got a couple of extra options here, like I can touch on the vignette, and then just using my fingers, I can pinch and get a great effect just with a couple of movements of my finger. So we've got some great photographic effects. We've also got some great artistic effects, like tilt shift and watercolor that can be applied with just a couple of touches of your finger. So some great effects in there as well. Now, once you've chosen your images and made them look good, you want to be able to share them. And we have a great new way of doing that. Switch over here to an event. I've got a set of pictures from a trip to Thailand. And I'm going to go ahead and select to share those. I'm going to choose Journal, choose All. We'll give this a name. And when I say Create Journal, it's automatically going to lay these photos out onto pages, one for each day of the trip. And then when I go ahead and show these, we end up with all my photos laid out in this really beautiful looking layout, really cleanly laid out on here. If you've marked photos with a caption or marked them as a favorite, those photos will be the ones that are preferred into the larger spaces on the screen.